Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Sarah, Tommy, and Anna from the Mayor's Task Force, going around the city of Elizabeth, knocking on doors and asking the residents their thoughts on the city in which we all live. Tommy, we'll start with you in the second half, and one of the questions we have and we've chatted about is the most interesting moments. And tell us about one of yours.
Well, there's a lot, but I'd have to say that the most interesting moment would have to be one day we were walking on Lafayette Street. It crosses with Catherine. And by chance, you were also with us walking, and with my group at least. And we were just knocking on doors, and luckily I was on a house that was actually Portuguese, and she only spoke Portuguese, the lady that lived there. And I could translate it for her and everything. I could understand what she was coming from. She was suffering from cancer, and her husband was unemployed. She was disabled, and her medication and treatment would cost about $900 a month. And then the government will only pay $700, so $200 is still out of her pocket every month. So she was suffering from that, and increasing taxes, and she had her concerns. And the greatest part was that I try to encourage her and tell her to call the city. Hopefully that the mayor will call back and respond, because I knew that you would read all the surveys. I knew that you would always be there for the residents. So I let her know that that's what would happen. And luckily, you were down the street, so I walked down there and I said, "Mayor, I have one person that might just benefit from talking to you." And luckily, yeah, she did. She opened the door and she was like, "Wow, the mayor, okay." And then she was trying to, and I was trying to translate. It was all good. And I think that in the end, I actually got into contact with her because my parents they know her at least, and I went back to her, and she's saying that thanks a lot for giving me an eye-opening and experience to see the mayor. It's a great opportunity, and hopefully she does better, because cancer is a horrible disease to come through. So
yeah, she was struggling with her health, and
yeah, she was.
We should take a moment and just wish her good health. Yep. But she was a very nice woman, and we are trying to help her. So, but also on Lafayette Street, there was a big hole in the road that we fixed.
Oh yeah.
And there was a John there from a porta John that was sitting there for months that the construction company never took away, and we got that rid of. That was at the other block from where you were working. So, Sarah, any interesting?
Yeah, actually. I probably there's several things that are very interesting about the city that I've found, but on the job specifically, I think that the most interesting thing that I've done is after I sung the national anthem for National Night Out, I was just hanging around. I didn't have an actual spot, so I was going around to my coworkers, seeing everything that they were doing, and a couple of my friends were helping out in the bouncy house. A couple of friends were handing out free things to children, and while we were waiting there for it to be 6 o'clock, we couldn't start until 6. I came across this group of kids, and I'd say they were around 10 or 11 years old. And we were just all sitting around, talking. I was playing a little bit of guitar. We were just hanging out, whatever. And we're just talking to them, seeing what they do and stuff like that. Because we were just vibing with them. And this kid is standing there, and he had a pocket full of chocolate. He had a pocket full of Hershey's Kisses or something. And which is something that I probably would have if I was his age.
Hershey Kisses.
Yeah, but he pulls out a Hershey Kiss, and he unravels it real fast and throws the wrapper on the ground, shoves the chocolate in his mouth, and he's chomping away at the chocolate. And I was like, I gotta throw that on the floor, man. He's we're in the middle of the park, and I always get stressed out when I see litter around, because it's people find it really easy to just complain about stuff, oh, this park is so dirty, blah blah blah, but they never take the initiative to change something about it. And it's really easy to say something and not do it, but to say something and then change your lifestyle to do it is,
there used to be a commercial when I was your age about a really big Indian, and the Indian would stand on the side of the road, and when the car drove by, they would throw newspapers or junk out the car window, and then the big Indian would have a teardrop come down his face. And, it really was a great educational campaign for people not to litter.
Yeah, so I said to the kid, why would you throw it on the ground? Just pick it up. And he's like, no, man, it's just a wrapper. And I'm like, no, you're the future of the world. Like, you're 12 years old. When I'm like old and wrinkly, like, you're still gonna be trying to enjoy the city with your kids and stuff. Like, I want to make it a good city, a clean city for my kids. Like, you should want to do the same thing, And these kids, they're like 10, 11 years old, and they look up to you like you're a god, like you're a giant, because you're like 17, 18, you're off to college, they're still in middle school, you just sung the national anthem, and they're like, wow, like, how'd you do that, and so instead of using that influence to influence them in a bad way, or like, slack off, do whatever you want kind of way, like, it was better to tell him, pick it up, try to teach him something new, and that was interesting to be able to influence kids and like try to make a better day, for tomorrow. I guess I mean that was interesting working with the kids and stuff. Yeah.
Anna, you at the break you said you didn't have anything, but what about some of the residents' responses to you and the questions? Because I was with you at one door.
Yes.
So tell us about some of the residents' responses.
Well, you kind of get everything, everything within the spectrum of possible responses. But one of the things that, I don't know, the time that this job kind of clicked for me was with one of the, I don't want to say that not any response isn't important, but one of the things that was kind of like, okay, and it was a woman who was, I first knocked on the door and she was like, we have a really big mosquito problem. And I was just like, oh, okay, like I'd never heard that before. And so I'm like taking the survey, and as I'm taking the survey, I could just like feel mosquitoes biting me. And
whether they were or they weren't, you felt them, right?
Yeah. And it's just kind of like I was taking the survey, and within just the one survey, I hadn't gotten bitten the entire day. I got 11 bug bites doing the one survey, and it's just like, I don't know, it was like a great analogy to how we go into these people's homes and we ask them these questions, and we kind of get a glimpse into their world, their lives, their problems, their concerns, their, the things that they like, that they don't like. So I don't know, that was kind of like...
That's interesting, because the one lady that you and I were at the door, she was concerned about the garbage thing that we were trying to move away from the front. And she was even 4 doors away, but she said kids were playing in there.
Yeah.
It was unsafe for the kids. So
she
was concerned about others, is the way I took that, more so than herself.
Yeah, and she was so passionate about that too. She was, like the kids are throwing their balls around and the ball goes into the trash cans, and then they're picking it up and, eating candy at the same time, and just like all that dirtiness.
So any surprises on the responses? Anything that surprised you? I mean, she had the one where it surprised her about the mosquitoes, and she hasn't been bitten in any other door except for that door, right? So maybe she had some pooling water there somewhere. We should have...
I don't know what it was, but, the throughout the neighborhood, I'd been fine, which is surprising because I tend to get a lot of mosquito bites. But I just at that one door, the 10, 15 minutes that it took me to survey her.
How about new friends?
Oh.
Did you make any? Or
these lovely ladies.
You made them,
my
huh?
friends,
Yeah.
So you didn't know either one of them before you started?
No. Well, she's from Pennsylvania. Well, she's
from
now.
Pennsylvania.
She's a foreigner.
You make it sound like it's such a foreign country. But she made it clear that she went to grammar school here.
Yes, I did.
And we never met, but Sarah, I knew her from friends and stuff. But we got to know each other, and now we're in the same group, and we go everywhere now together. So
the groups haven't changed. Are the 3 of you in the same group or?
No, well, me and Tommy are in the same group, but she's in a different group because she drives a different car and I drive Tommy's car.
Okay.
And but I think that the group has probably been like one of the best experiences of my work experience, just because we are very closely knit, and our boss Rosa tries to always influence us with a team. Like we're one big 30-person team, but 30 people don't fit in one car. So so when you break off into groups, you get a lot more personal with the people that you're working with and stuff. And there have been times that like I mean, in my group, there's somebody has a problem, and you'll see somebody's like stressing out or feeling bad, and you're like, hey man, what's up, and they have you there to talk to on the way to the neighborhood that you're working that day, and that takes a little bit of the edge off the day for them. It takes a little bit of the edge off for you. You feel like you're helping somebody else too, and we've become a very tightly knit group. Tommy knows, right?
Okay.
We like sit in the van, we like share food with each other, like everybody brings snacks for each other, like. We're always like going out together and stuff, so it's cool. I definitely made new friends.
Good. Anna, how about your group?
Well, I have one of the sedans, so I have a smaller group that's 5 of us, and but the same thing. Yeah, we've become like our little family, and within the bigger family that is the task force. But yeah, like I didn't know anybody coming in because I didn't go to high
You're from
school here.
Pennsylvania.
But yeah, so I think that was the thing that kind of sold the job for me, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be working with people my age. I finally get to meet people here, really. And it really has been that way. I didn't know any of these people before. Now we're friends. We know things about each other that friends know, and
Right.
it's great.
So you think you'd continue these relationships when you go back to college, whether it be through Facebook or email or something like
Yeah,
that?
definitely.
So we got about a minute left. Would you do this again?
Oh, of course. The opportunities that this has opened up for us, just not even me, just everybody really. And the opportunity that it gave the residents to speak their minds and for us to communicate that to you is something that I just would love to do over and over and over again, because the city expands, the city changes every decade, every 5 years, every 2 years, it changes. The diversity now, so it shows you what Elizabeth is. It shows the potential. It shows what it can be, and I would love to do this all the time because I want to respond to what the residents do.
So you brought up diversity. We're going to close with your heritage. You are?
I'm Portuguese.
And you are?
Cuban.
And you are?
Colombian.
That's the mix of the city.
That's
the
a beautiful
diversity.
mix.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate it. For Sarah Salamo, Tommy Correa, and Anna Garcia, I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.